Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our final Lunch and Learn of the 2020 year. We tend to wrap up the 2020 year for many of our chamber members and employers looking at healthcare. We always love to partner with many of our members in providing Lunch and Learn, and perhaps not a greater member in healthcare, the Richards Group and Heidi. Heidi's been doing this in this presentation for us for a couple years now. I was commenting to our producer, Cat TV, and Mike Cutler on the other end that I think last year I was in sunny California, while Erica on my staff and Heidi led many of you through Healthcare 2020. So here I am in Bennington, Vermont, a different year, a different time. We do want to thank Cat TV for doing this. They've been a great partner throughout our Lunch and Learns for the recording capacity of it. Believe it or not, even before COVID, we started to think about how do we make this more of a digital platform, and it was right in time. So we have converted completely to Zoom calls, which I think has increased our attendance. And really, at the end of the day, the Lunch and Learns are about disseminating good information to our members. So whether it's meeting in person or your comfortability hopping online, this is really for all of you. And so we're happy to bring you a digital platform for that. This meeting will be recorded. So as I said to many of you before we started, please feel free to share with your employees, with other employers. This will be housed on the Chamber website, but also, and I think Heidi will get into it as well, the Richards Group and Heidi are available as well after this meeting to meet with all of you individually if that's the case. Finally, before I hand it over to Heidi, a big thank you to Heritage Family Credit Union, who has sponsored this year's Lunch and Learn series. So with that, Heidi, the room is all yours.
Great. Thanks so much, Matt. Hi, everybody. If I haven't met you before, my name is Heidi Borhill, and I am a part of the small business unit located in Manchester, Vermont. The Richards Group is a privately owned insurance agency that is sort of spreading like wildfire all over Vermont. But I definitely think we still kind of hold that small insurance group charm. So basically what I am here to do is I will present to you your VACE benefits. So I don't know if you guys already know this. If you do, this will just be a little refresher. If you didn't know that being a chamber member had these benefit options, I will go over those. That would be dental and vision. And then I will also sort of briefly touch upon health insurance. So this is something that was new last year when we originally started this. VACE was able to offer health insurance. It is no longer an option. So as a small business owner, if you have employees, now your only option is to go to or through the Vermont Health Exchange or direct through a carrier, so MVP or Blue Cross Blue Shield. So with that, I am just going to start with, I'll start with the chamber benefits, if that's okay. Is that okay with you, Matt? And then I'll go to health insurance. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Oops. Let's bring this up. All right. So I'm going to start with, let me get you out of here. I'm going to start with the dental. So just so everybody knows, a huge perk to being a chamber member and having this dental option is that there is no minimum. So if you're a sole proprietor, you can hop on this and actually benefit from group rates. New last year is this Plan 3 option. A couple years ago, you just had the 2. Now they've thrown in a Plan 3, and it's sort of your catastrophic type dental plan. It covers your preventative care and a little bit of basic, but other than that, it doesn't cover anything. But I don't want to jump the gun. So basically, with these benefits, there are no benefit changes. So if you have this, if you're currently on it, there really isn't going to be much change or no change at all. The only change you will have is actually in plan option 1, you had a benefit increase. So now instead of, I believe it was 1,500, whoop, is this? Oh yeah, here it is, sorry. It was about 1,500 last year right here. It's now 2,000. So there was a benefit increase. And another huge perk to this is this specific plan actually had a 4% premium decrease. So that's a pretty substantial decrease. I think it really will help people, and I think it's the least Delta Dental could do. So they really are kind of putting some money back into the system. I mean, for the most part, you guys probably couldn't even get a cleaning. So just different times. So I will just start by going over the coverages. So on coverage A, this is your preventative coverage. So on all plans, it would be covered at 100%. For all plans offered, you will also have 2 annual cleanings. So any preventative cleaning will be covered at 100%, and you get 2 per year. There's a list of any preventative services. If you have a question, just refer to this list. If you think that you could potentially need more or should get more cleanings in a year, plan options 1, 2, and 3 have what's called the HOW program, or Delta Dental has a HOW program, that if you go into your dentist and say, you know, I think I might need more cleanings than just 2, they give you sort of a little questionnaire. If you get a certain score on this questionnaire, you could actually qualify for 2 additional cleanings. So that would bring you up to 4 cleanings a year at no additional cost. So another huge perk and a nice little benefit to these programs. Next up is coverage B. So this is your basic restorative. This you'll see, this is where your plans start to differ a little bit. Plan option 1 will cover these service categories at 80%. If you are new to the program, as indicated below, you will have a 6-month wait period. I think this is a huge sort of overlooked little detail. If you're currently on this plan and have been for years, this is something that you never, or you have already met, so don't worry about it. It's not something that rolls over. Once you've satisfied these wait periods, and this goes for any plan, once you've satisfied that 6-month wait period, then you can start receiving that 80% benefit. But just really, you know, keep in mind that if you go for if you go for a root canal or anything like that, you will have to wait 6 months if you are new to the plan. Next up is the coverage C. This is major restorative, dentures, crowns. This is covered at 50%. Wait time as well, 12 months. So the same thing applies. If you've already had this coverage for a year, or you're coming from another Northeast Delta Dental plan where they will accept your wait period. So maybe you changed employers and you are just sort of moving over to their plan. You won't have to satisfy that 12-month wait period, but if you are new, you do have to wait that 12 months. If you go before that, you will be charged in full. So just please be aware of your wait time. Last coverage is coverage D, and this is orthodontia. So this is covered at 50% after a 12-month wait period. The next, there's a little tidbit here on your the HOW program. You can also have a double up max option for the first 2 plans. This double up max means that if you use less than 500 of your benefit dollars in a year, 250 of it can roll over and you could potentially double up your benefit amount. Another important feature is a lifetime deductible. This applies to coverages B and C. So this is a once in a lifetime payment. If you go and do anything that falls in the B or C service category and you are new, you will have either a single or 2-person or family, you have that 300. So for a single, it's $100 deductible. 2-person or family, it is 300. Once you have satisfied this, just like the wait time, you will never see this deductible again. It's not like medical. It doesn't roll over and start again next year. This is something that's just, you pay it. It's a random charge on your invoice. If you get one, if you're balance billed, you might see it. So that has come up as a questionable an amount, but that is actually your one-time deductible, and then you'll never pay it again. So like I said, you actually you'll see that you have a 4% decrease in the premiums for option 1. So that is a nice positive thing for 2021. We don't get a lot of those. So next I'll go through plan 2, and keep in mind, you'll see different networks. So for example, plan 1 has a PPO plus Premier network. The network differences is really the amount of dentists within that network. So the PPO Premier network has a larger network of dentists, and the PPO network is sort of just a little bit more, it's just a little bit smaller, but most likely your dentist, if they take Delta Dental, will take both of these coverages. So it really will just kind of come down to which plan sort of meets your needs the most. So for plan 2, it covers preventative care, just like plan 1 at 100%. Same how option, you could potentially get 2 additional cleanings. The difference for this plan will come coverage B. Instead of 80, it is 60%. So again, if you're sort of wondering what plan is best for me, it's sort of like, why do you go to the dentist the most? What are the services that you will utilize the most? So it's not a one size fits all. It's sort of, what best fits your needs. 6-month wait period, and coverage C a little bit higher than option 1. So I actually just spoke to a gentleman. He's actually getting dentures this year. So for him, his particular situation, he is going to benefit more from option 2 than he would with option 1. So it's a very simple example, but there you go. This one has a little bit lower benefit maximum. You still have the option to double it the same way that you would with option 1, but just a little bit lower. And this one will be less expensive. And you still do have that deductible, excuse me. And the last plan is your plan option 3. So again, this is new as of last year. It covers everything preventative wise at 100%, and then only 50% after a 6-month wait period for coverage B. It does not have any other coverages. So again, this is sort of your catastrophic. I have good oral hygiene. I don't have any issues. I just go in for my preventative care and maybe something else. This is going to be your least expensive option. So I saw somebody had a question. Matt, did you read it or?
Yep. So from Denise, last year we were told we would have to wait, have the wait time, even though we had Delta Dental. Has that changed?
So you had Northeast Delta Dental?
And Denise, feel free to, if you're on, unmute yourself if you want to just kind of clarify that question.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes, I can. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. So we've had Delta Dental for a long time, and this was not through VACE or anything, but on our own through the grocers and then on our own. And when we checked, we were told that even though it was still a Delta Dental plan, it was different than VACE. And so it doesn't count, and we would have to do that waiting period again. I just wanted to know if that had changed, because it sounds like you were saying something different.
But so did I hear you that you had it through the Grocers Association?
We first had it through the grocers. Now I think it's just, privately through them. I think so.
I think that's exactly why. But I can Matt, do you have access? Denise, do you mind if I email you just to double check that?
Awesome. That'd be great.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay. All right. Were there any other coverage questions or Delta Dental questions? I will say that, it would be in your best interest to go to a Delta Dental provider. That does not mean that you have to. You can certainly go to a dental office that does not accept any insurance or does not take Delta Dental. You will just be responsible for the total upfront cost, and then you basically only get a percentage as opposed to the full benefit. That's my situation, and I might just be that lazy that I don't switch my dentists. But basically, I just go in, I'm responsible for that full bill up front, and then I submit it, or the dentist office could submit it to Delta Dental, and then I receive, a portion of that as opposed to maybe 100%. So it's sort of like medical. It's a negotiated price that Delta Dental has with a network provider. If you are an employer and you are new to the program, or you already have this, I just want to let you know that you can have the option of all plans. You don't have to offer just one. You could offer, a choice. Your employees could pick the difference or pick whatever plan best fits their needs, and that you could go off of that. Or you could always you could just pick one if you wanted, but technically all of these are available to you. And again, there's no minimum participation. So another huge perk. So if I don't have any more questions, I'm going to go to the vision. I think we're good.
Yep.
Okay. So vision, this is a great benefit. I actually was just talking about it with a colleague of mine. This is awesome purely from a participation standpoint. As an employer, if you were to go direct with VSP, they have a minimum participation of 10 people. So for a lot of small employers out there or sole proprietors, like that's obviously not an option. So it is a nice little, you can bring it in as a voluntary option as you can dental, but this can be a sort of a perk at a low cost to the employer, and the participation isn't going to stop you. So again, there's just one participant necessary to put in this plan. Very affordable as well. $12 for a single, $19 for a two-person plan, or $29 for a family. No benefit changes. So if you just go in for your wellness exam, you have a $10 copay. You get one every calendar year. That is different if you go in for glasses. You will have a different copay. It is a $25 copay, and that you get that one. You get new glasses every other year. So that is, again, specific to if you have glasses or if you have contacts, you do have different copays. So just keep that in mind. With the glasses or contacts, it is an either or situation. So one year you might have to get glasses, the next year you get your contacts. You can't get both in the same year. With this, you do get $130 allowance for, a selection of frames. It goes pretty far. I mean, there are some glasses that are or some lenses, I should say, that just make things a little more expensive than others, but this is a very rich benefit. This isn't necessarily an issue in our area, but if you were in Brattleboro, for example, they didn't have a lot of VSP providers. And so because of the Richards Group, we actually were able to add the Walmart and Costco relationship. So you are able to now go to Walmart or Costco and get your glasses or your wellness exam or anything like that. So this, basically everything is every calendar year other than the frames. And you have some additional savings, laser vision correction. This, just like dental, they do have an out-of-network payment plan or sort of breakdown. So if you do go to an eye doctor that doesn't take VSP, which VSP is a national provider, I think it's pretty difficult to find one, but in smaller areas, you do have the private practices. We do have a breakdown for that. So if you want that, I'm happy to send it to Matt, and he can send that your way. But that's really it for the vision. Did anybody have any vision questions?
Just to clarify, Heidi, so employee $12, is that monthly, is that yearly, and kind of, do they just pay that out, or how does that
It
work?
is monthly. Yep, it is monthly. So for both of these benefits, it can be a voluntary benefit or an employer contributed benefit. I've seen it both ways. I think a lot of employers like dental is obviously more expensive. So, and I think a lot of people really value a dental benefit over vision just because of the expense. So I've had a lot of people, or a lot of employers, put the Delta Dental in, contribute to that benefit, and put the vision in as a voluntary. So that means voluntary, meaning 100% employer or employee paid, excuse me. So yeah, that $12, $19, and $29 is a monthly amount.
And then if you did family, or at least, an employee, I guess you could just do employee plus spouse.
Yep.
You could go both ways, but each person would get an exam.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And that's the case
and then down through, each person would get 130.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And that is the same case for the dental. So that yearly benefit amount, it's $2,000 per member on that family plan or that 2-person plan.
Okay.
So it's not just $2,000 for a family of 5, it's $2,000 per member. Okay, so if that, no questions, we're good. Okay.
Looks like we're good. Yep.
This is health insurance for this year. As I was saying at the beginning, the VACE health insurance option is no longer available, unfortunately. So if you are a sole proprietor, you do have to go either through the Vermont Health Connect or direct to the carrier, depending on your financial situation. These plans that you see here would be the same if you were an individual or a small group. And in Vermont, small group is under 100. So if you're an employer that has, at least one employee, these would be your options. So I'm just going to briefly go through this, and then just let everybody know that this sort of situation, if you did want a broker, this is something that I'm happy to talk to you about, but there is an additional fee with the Richards Group sort of helping you along with the health insurance portion. So I just wanted to give everybody a quick refresher or what's available for a small group in Vermont. And if you had any additional questions, I'm happy to answer them via email or, offline on a phone call or something. Does that work for everybody? So a standard plan. So basically this is something that the Richards Group makes up. We think it reads just a little bit easier, but basically standard plans, whether it be MVP or Blue Cross Blue Shield, they're going to be exactly the same, meaning that they'll have the same deductible, same out-of-pocket max, same copay, that sort of thing. The only difference you'll find is in the premium amounts. So this year we did have a very small increase. As far as increases are concerned, it certainly went up, but it wasn't double digits, which is great. It was just single. So these are all standard plans. They are the same whether you go with MVP or Blue Cross Blue Shield. The next option you would have, if you were to go with Blue Cross Blue Shield, you would see the non-standard plans. They did give them different names this year. So now you'll see Preferred Gold for a non-standard option. And these are where the carriers can sort of differ from each other as far as plan design. You'll always sort of see the same sort of version with the opposite carrier, but it'll be VT Preferred Gold and then for example, MVP Gold 2. So they will function very, very much the same, if not exactly the same, but they'll just have sort of different deductibles or different out-of-pocket maxes. So that is the non-standard plans for Blue Cross Blue Shield. Again, you can range from gold to bronze. Gold being it will pay more out-of-pocket expense than a silver or a bronze, and bronze being the least expensive option, but the most out-of-pocket exposure. The MVP, like I said, their answer to it is the non-standard, just gold 2. They always have a number at the end of it. Same sort of situation. The premium for MVP in general is going to be a lot less, honestly, than Blue Cross Blue Shield. So if you're currently on Blue Cross Blue Shield, I would highly consider just looking at an MVP option, just because you will see some financial savings most likely. But I always want to make sure people know that if you did decide to change and go from Blue Cross Blue Shield MVP or MVP to Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's always something that you should keep in mind. Just make sure your doctor accepts an MVP or a Blue Cross Blue Shield, or if you have a prescription, that your prescription is covered the way you want it to be. Or, I don't want you to enroll in something and have it be covered the exact opposite way that you really wanted it to be. So does anybody have any questions? I don't want to go plan for plan. Again, this is sort of, I'm happy to answer via email or a phone call. But Matt, I can send you this, and you guys can all look at the plans. And if you had any specific questions on how it works, I'm happy to answer those.
Yeah, Heidi sent along some of this kind of as a packet. We will put together an email and send it out to everybody on this call, along with Heidi's contact information as well.
Yeah. So that was all that I was covering. Is there anything else that you would like, or does anybody have any questions for me?
Any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself or talk in the chat box. And if not, this can be a short lunch and learn. I think it was last year too, as rumor had it.
Yeah, I mean,
Heidi's
it's nice
pretty efficient. Heidi's pretty efficient.
I'm curious, maybe I missed it, but what is the cost benefit for enrolling in this rather than doing the exchange? Did you touch on that and I missed it?
For health insurance?
Yeah.
So if you are you an individual or a sole proprietor?
Individual, yeah.
Okay. So basically, if you go to the Vermont Health Exchange, that means you could potentially get a subsidy through the state, depending on your income or your family, income. So that what we get as a small group, there are no, subsidies put into the premiums as a group. We have to, what you see is what you get, basically. Whereas if you go to the Vermont Health Exchange, you can put in your income and see if you do qualify for a subsidy. If you don't, then actually you would just go direct to the carrier, just like a small group. So in Vermont, like I was saying earlier, we don't have a lot of options.
Okay. So it's really pretty much apples and apples if you don't get the subsidy.
The subsidies, exactly. There might be a few plans that, I think it was a couple years ago where the term or the label reflective silver came out, and small group had to be very specific as to what silver plan they were enrolling in, because reflective indicated that you were a group and you technically didn't get that, you didn't get a subsidy. And the non-reflective was just an individual plan, but I believe the plan design was the exact same. It was just a premium difference, and subsidies were built into that individual. So basically, you're correct. The plans are going to be exactly the same in the state of Vermont. Groups under 100, the plans are going to be identical. It's just whether or not you receive a subsidy that you would go through the exchange.
Another question, do you offer disability insurance? And Denise, I'm not sure if she means just the Richards Group, which you guys do, which you may want to speak to a little bit of what else the Richards Group offers.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so the chamber doesn't offer disability insurance, but the Richards Group, we do have access to individual disability quotes or carriers. So if that's something you want to get my email from Matt, and feel free to we'll connect that way. And that could be group or individual, just so everybody knows. And the Richards Group, it's a larger group. So as Matt was saying, we don't just do employee benefits. We do have a retirement division. We have commercial, we have personal lines, and then we have our benefits department. So we do pretty much cover it all. But if there's somebody that you need contact to, if you want to look at commercial insurance or something like that, I can always give you those contact information as well.
Another question, just confirming VT Health Connect would be just for individuals and sole proprietors. Small businesses could go direct through carriers.
Yeah, so small business, you wouldn't be going through the Vermont Health Connect. You would technically just go direct to the carrier, but you do need to have at least one employee. So you couldn't be that sole proprietor. So sole proprietors would go to the Vermont Health Connect. And then as Chris was saying, depending on your income, you may not qualify for a subsidy. And if that was the case, you would just go direct to the carrier as well. It would just be an individual policy as opposed to a group or labeled as a group. And I do, honestly, I do have the group paperwork, and I'm happy to just give that to people. That's not something that I need to have.
All right. Any final questions? And I think as we tend to end each year with our Lunch and Learn series, if you have topics, obviously the world has changed. It continues to change. There's nothing new around that, but we may have new topics that you want to hear about. And so that's the job of Erica. Erica, wave your hand over there, looking great at the chamber office, and me and our staff and board to put together. So, I think we found that our work with Heidi has always been helpful for members. So we'll continue to work with Heidi in healthcare for next year. But if you have other topics, COVID related or not COVID related, that you want us to explore in Lunch and Learn series, please let us know, and we will continue to do them digitally on into the winter. Any final questions for Heidi or the chamber? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Cat TV, for filming. Thank you, Heritage Family Credit Union, for the sponsorship of the 2020 season. And thank you, Heidi and the Richards Group, for always bringing great information to us.
Yeah, thanks so much, Matt.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good day.